So, our question says, assess the achievements in Bismarck's foreign policy. So, you need to understand that after the Franco-Prussian War, Germany got its unification. But by this time, Germany had big enemies in its room. Among them, a country called France. Now, how was he going to navigate the waters? So we are saying, Otto von Bismarck was born to an aristocratic family, and by 1847, he had been elected to the Prussian parliament. Later, in 1862, he was appointed the minister-president of Prussia and ensured the completion of the German unification. In the German Empire, he served as the chancellor, and in his foreign policy, he aimed at maintaining peace. In other words, Bismarck wanted to maintain what? Peace. Another one, he aimed at isolating France. Isolating what? France. In other words, he feared France to fight a war of revenge. And by this time, he aimed at promoting Germany's primacy. My friend, having an aim is one thing and achieving is another. Now, the hard question is, did Bismarck achieve? Before you continue, as Kasoma Faruq of Uganda, I emphasize to you, you must avoid being idle busy. Idle what? Someone is pretending as if he's reading books, but in reality is not reading what? That is called idle what? Busy. Now, by this time, we need to understand the achievements in Bismarck's foreign what? Policy. Number one, Otto von Bismarck secured war reparations from France in 1871. Let me tell you, after the Franco-Prussian War, Prussia of Germany defeated what? France. So by this time, Germany made France. France had to accept to pay France. He promoted peace. He didn't fight. But France had to accept the what? The agreement altogether. And by this time, we are saying Bismarck achieved it. Another one is secured for German control of the mineralized provinces of Alsace and Lorraine. Let me tell you, after the defeat of France in the Franco-Prussian War, Bismarck made France to lose Alsace and Lorraine. These were important territories because they had the minerals. Now what happened? By this time, Germany had to take Alsace and Lorraine. This makes us believe that Bismarck succeeded in his foreign policy because he made France to lose Alsace and what? Lorraine. Another one, Bismarck supported the establishment of a weak republican government in France. We are saying today, Bismarck as a tactical thinker in politics, he supported France to have a republican government. Why? In a bid to isolate France as a strategic thinker, he made France to be a republican government. His agenda was, by this time, he wanted France to be isolated because other countries were monarchies. Were what? Were monarchies. So by supporting France to have a republican government, he wanted other countries not to ally with what? With France. Because for them they were monarchies, and for France it was a republican what? Government. So Bismarck succeeded because by this time he supported France to be a republican government. So since France was a republican government, Bismarck managed to isolate what? France. Other countries could not cooperate with France because for them they were monarchies, and for France it was a what? A republic. So Bismarck succeeded in his foreign what? Policy. Another one is set up the League of the Free Emperors, Drakensband, by 1872, which helped to solve issues and isolate France. How? Let me tell you. Bismarck feared that what if Russia and Austro-Hungary cooperate with which country? France, and they declare war against Germany. As a tactical thinker, he went and convinced Austro-Hungary and a country called Russia, and they formed a Drakensband alliance. What was in the Drakensband alliance? They agreed that if one of us is attacked, we need to join hands together to fight a common what? Enemy. And by this time, his calculation, he wanted to be helped in case he was to be what? Attacked by a country called what? France. So in the Drakensband alliance, Bismarck was successful because he managed to promote Germany's primacy over Austro-Hungary and Russia, because it is the German that formed an what? Alliance. Another one, he managed to promote peace because he didn't fight. He just convinced them to make an what? Alliance. Another thing, he was successful because he managed to isolate France. How? In the way that in the Drakensband alliance, Germany had allies, but France didn't have what? Allies. That's why we are saying Bismarck was successful in the Free Emperors League. He was what? Successful. Another one, Bismarck promoted diplomacy and cooperation between countries, hence maintained a peaceful Europe from 1871 to 1890. So we are saying Bismarck promoted diplomacy where they were solving issues peacefully, not through fighting, but he could negotiate with what? Countries. So we are saying Bismarck was successful. Another one, you hear this. Otto von Bismarck achieved partial success in his war threat against France. His war what? His war threat. Let me first explain. I'm going. In his war what? Threats against what? France. Let me explain this. You hear this. In his war threats against what? His war threats against France. Let me tell you. France surprised the whole of Europe. Surprised the whole of what? Europe. How? In the way that within a period of 2 years, France had finished paying the what? The money. Altogether. The money, by the Bismarck made the money, the price to be paid by France very high, to make it difficult for France to pay the what? The money. But France surprised the whole of Europe. Within a period of 2 years, it had finished the what? The money. Now, after France paying the money, it could mean that by this time, Germany had to remove the arm of occupation it had put in where? In France, because France had paid the what? The money. Now Bismarck, as a tactical thinker, he started what you call verbal war threats. He started threatening a country called what? France, that I'm going to attack you. The strategy was to weaken a country called what? France. And we are saying he succeeded in he got what you call partial success, because France feared to do what? To attack him. Are you getting my argument? So we are honoring the legacy of a man called the Otto von Bismarck. Another one, Bismarck called the Berlin. In this kind of arrangement, Bismarck wanted to solve issues in the Eastern question. In the Eastern, what happened? For example, Austria and Russia were fighting over the control of two areas, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bosnia and what? Bismarck, as a honest broker and as a man of peace, called the Berlin what? Congress. Why did he call the Berlin Congress? He wanted to solve the problems between what? Between Austria and Russia, because they were fighting over Bosnia and Herzegovina. Now what happened? In the Berlin Congress, Bismarck supported Austria to take over Bosnia and Herzegovina. by this time, in calling the Berlin Congress, we are saying Bismarck was successful. Was what? Successful. Why? Because he promoted Germany's supremacy. He's the one who called the Berlin Congress. This meant that Germany was number one. Number one. Then he managed to promote peace because they didn't fight. He just called them and they discussed about the issue of solving problems in the Ottoman what? Empire. Another one, he managed to isolate France. Why isolating France? Because by this time, people could not associate with France and leave out a man who even called a big what? Congress altogether. So Bismarck was successful in his foreign what? Policy. Now you hear this. After the Berlin Congress, Bismarck, at one time you remember, he had a friendship with which country? Russia. But do you know what happened? In the Berlin Congress, he supported Austro-Hungary against what? Russia. Now he lost the friendship of which country? Russia. Problems arose. The man feared that what if I'm attacked today? What if Russia cooperates with France and they attack me? Now, as a calculator in politics, he called upon Austro-Hungary and convinced Austro-Hungary, we need to form an alliance, tactical thinker in politics. And by this time, he formed the duo alliance. The duo what? Alliance of 1879. Why did he call the duo what? Alliance. The strategy was, in case we attacked, we need to come together to fight a common what? Enemy. So he got in a great deep relationship with a country called Austro-Hungary. So Bismarck was successful in his foreign policy that he managed to promote Germany's supremacy over Austria altogether. Then he managed to promote peace because they didn't fight. For him, he formed an alliance. In case he was to be attacked, he had a country around him altogether. So we are saying Bismarck was successful in his foreign what? In his foreign what? Policy. Another key aspect in this, Bismarck at one time, he lost the friendship of which country? Russia. But as a tactical thinker, feared that what if Russia cooperates with France and they attack me today? You hear this one. Bismarck renewed the Drakensband alliance. Lead thinker. By this time, he went to Russia and convinced Russia. God tells us forgive and forget. Please forgive me today. Russia accepted and they had to renew the Drakensband what? Alliance. Bismarck was successful because he managed to promote German what? Supremacy over these countries. That is Austro-Hungary and Russia. He managed to promote peace. To promote what? Peace. Even he managed to isolate France. Because by this time, these countries were in his alliance. They could not cooperate with what? With France to attack him. So we are saying Bismarck was a tactical thinker in politics. A tactical what? Thinker. Now, you hear this. Bismarck feared that what if Italy cooperates with which country? With a country called France and they attack me. He wanted the relationship with a country called what? Italy. But he calculated, how can I get a country called Italy on my side? As a tactical thinker, there was a conflict between Italy and France over Tunisia. A man supported an enemy to take over Tunisia. Bismarck supported France to take over what? Tunisia. How can someone support an enemy to take over a state? Calculated in politics. His calculation was he wanted France and Italy to conflict in where? In Tunisia. And it was likely that Italy was going to come to him asking for what? Assistance. And he was going to put conditions on table. If you need my assistance, join my alliance. Calculated politics. As he calculated, Italy went to Bismarck and told Bismarck, my friend, France is fighting me where? In Tunisia, I need your assistance. Bismarck put conditions on table that if you need my assistance, join my what? Alliance. Italy joined. I can tell you, the dual alliance became triple alliance. Bismarck was successful because he managed to promote Germany supremacy. And by this time, he managed to promote peace. He didn't fight, just calculations. And another one, he managed to isolate France, calculate and politics. That's why we are saying Dennis Richard, one of the horrific historian in his book, Illustrated Modern Europe, is telling us that Bismarck was the most wise man of his time. My friend, don't ask me whether in your area there were no people. According to Dennis Richards, Bismarck was the most what? Wise man. By the way, the period 1871 to 1890 was called Bismarck era. No one was supposed to talk except Otto von Bismarck. I can tell you, he was just a leading thinker and we honor him. Now, there was a problem. I want you to hear this. At one time, Bismarck didn't have interest in getting colonies. The man didn't have interest in getting colonies, but he had problems at home. What happened? The industrial owners, the industrial what? The industrial what? Wanted raw materials. The hard question is, where were they going to get the raw materials without having what? Colonies. So as a tactical thinker, he called the Berlin Conference of 1884 to 85. A man who didn't have colonies called a conference for them to share colonies. And by this time, a no-colonial man became a colonial man. What happened in Berlin? In Berlin, he convinced the countries that, my friend, we don't need to fight. We need to sit and share. And by this time in Berlin, German got colonies. Tanganyika, Namibia, Togo. So we are saying, my argument here, in the Berlin Conference, Bismarck managed to promote German what? Supremacy. Because it's the one who called it the Berlin what? Conference. To solve the problems of Europe, lead thinker. And by this time, he managed to isolate France. He didn't fight. He just called a conference. So you could not imagine by this time, countries could not cooperate with the France and leave out a great man. Bismarck, from which country? German. So we are saying Bismarck was successful. It was one. Another one, he managed to maintain peace. By the way, whatever achievement you reason, you base on the aims and objectives. I can tell you, Bismarck was just a leading thinker. Now, you hear this. Along the way, he lost the friendship still of a country called what? Russia. Still, he lost the friendship. Now, what happened? Bismarck, as a leading thinker, in 1887, signed what you call the Secretary Insurance Treaty. Do you know what happened? He went to Russia and told Russia, I know I have annoyed you so much, but still God tells us forgive and forget. Please forgive me today. They signed a treaty between Germany and Russia. What was this treaty? The treaty, Bismarck signed a treaty and told Russia, I support you in the Balkans. I don't support Austro-Hungary. I don't support Austro-what? You remember in the Berlin Congress, he supported Austro-Hungary, but he made that treaty secret. The intention was, he didn't want Austro-Hungary to know. Because if Austro-Hungary knew, it was going to pull away from his what? Alliance. The man made that treaty secret. We are secret, he told Russia that I support you in where? In the Balkans. I don't support what? Austro-Hungary. And Russia accepted. Lead thinker, Otto von Bismarck. But he made the treaty secret. Because if Austro-Hungary knew, it was going to pull away from his what? Alliance. Otto von Bismarck. I can tell you, if he was a player, he was a chess player in politics. He knew how to arrange his what? is Katze. You hear this. Bismarck tried to restrain arms and naval development, which helped to create good relations with Great Britain. I want you to hear this. He feared Britain to support France to fight him. As a lead thinker, he avoided from arms and naval development because his intention was he didn't want to conflict with a country called what? Britain. Because if he conflicted with Britain in competition, in militarism, he was going to make Britain to support France against him. So by this time, he avoided arms development. The strategy was he didn't want to fight with a country called what? Britain. I can tell you, Bismarck was successful in his foreign what? Policy. So the period 1871 to 1890 was called Bismarck era. But of course, if a question comes, assess the achievements in Bismarck's foreign policy. You first give the achievements and then you give what? Failure.